Hello, my name is Zefā. Are you tired of your weapons and Warframes taking ages to max out in Forma? Or perhaps you're new to Warframe and are curious how to properly level? If yes, then this guide is for you. Some quick information about me. I'm a Master Rank 30 player and I've been playing the game since 2016, so you might say I know a thing or two about leveling. But I'm sure in this guide you will find a method that fits you and your needs specifically. Yes, even you new players. With that out of the way, let's hop into how the leveling system works and why Stealth Affinity is broken as hell. So let's set something straight. If your loadout looks like this, you are leveling wrong and you're actively slowing yourself down. Here, let me quickly break it down for you. Affinity works like this. Your Warframe is gonna get 25% of gained affinity and your weapons will get 75% of gained affinity. Now the thing some people don't know about, see these two? They are still receiving a share of gained affinity. Meaning, your actual leveling weapon is only receiving 1/3 of what it should be getting. This is a huge increase you're missing out on if you don't take advantage of this. And before someone mentions it, companions get their own affinity pool, which isn't taking away from weapons or warframes. A thing also worth mentioning, if you want to level your stuff as quickly as possible, actively use it. So, if you're leveling a warframe, use warframe abilities to kill. When you're leveling a weapon, use weapon abilities to kill. You get the gist of it. Now onto the more prominent part of what makes some of these methods so insanely broken. First off, the stealth multiplier. This is a multiplier that can stack from 100 to 500%. What does this mean and how do I get it? How to get it? It's very simple. Just don't let enemies spot you when you're killing them and always use a silent rated weapon. There are some weapon mods which turn weapons silent, so just put those on your weapon and you should be fine. As for the multiplier itself, it flat out increases your XP gains by that percentage. That's completely insane. There is a major problem with the system though, it's AI detection, and this is janky as hell. Sometimes enemies are spotting you, even though they clearly shouldn't be spotting you. I'm looking at you specifically, cool village leveling. Now to the second part that's extremely broken, let's talk about shared affinity. This is where things get interesting, because if other players kill enemies within your affinity range, this usually is 50 meters, but it can be increased through various ways. You get 100% of that affinity. But here's the catch. It's always distributed 25% to your warframe and 75% to your weapons. This is completely different from when you get kills yourself. It doesn't matter how your teammate got the kill, whether to use a nuking ability or not. The split always remains the same. This is also why nuking is so popular. By the way, nuking just refers to spawn wiping the entire map. And finally, the last important detail you have to keep in mind. Different factions give different amount of base affinity. Let me give you a quick ranking so you understand why some methods are better than others. Grenier roughly give you 3 times the affinity of all other factions. After that, there's usually Corpus and Orokin. These usually provide the same amounts, with typically Infested giving the lowest. So don't level with Infested. The difference isn't related to the difficulty, it's just how the base affinity values are set in the code. Next on the agenda, let's talk about affinity boosting methods. It's important to know that these all stack with each other, so use as many as you can at the same time. Let's start with the most obvious one of them all, the affinity booster. This can be bought from the store, the cheapest one is 40 platinum. The next thing is the double affinity weekend. This is a random event, so no telling when the next one might be. After that, there is the affinity blessing. This is a 25% increase to your affinity. You can get this from a Master Rank 30 player at any relay, chat, or maybe the Blessings Discord. And the last one, a highly random one, which I don't recommend actively focusing on, is the Smita Kavat's Charm. Charm has a 10% chance to give you a triple affinity gain for roughly 120 seconds. It's neat, but don't rely on it. Now that we're fully buffed, let's talk about leveling methods. Early on, you realistically only have 2 methods. First off, Sanctuary Onslaught or Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, which is used in the endgame as well by the way, and the outdated defense mission Hydron on Sedna. Regarding Hydron, I will get to that at the end of the video. Now, how do you even unlock SO and ESO? By the way, those are abbreviations for Sanctuary Onslaught and Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. You can do this relatively easy, you just have to complete the quest The New Strange, which you get from the Europa Junction. The quest itself doesn't take that long and is relatively easy. Once you finish this quest, head to the Syndicate tab on the star chart. There you will find SO and ESO. But remind yourself to always set it to public before you go into these modes, cause these are usually the most popular leveling methods there are, besides a few outliers. This mode is extremely easy to play. All you have to do is kill enemies, go to the next stage if you aren't done leveling yet. But if you happen to be done, just don't go into the portal and let the timer run out. Since killing is all there is to it, you can level anything that isn't a consumable in here. The consumable wheel is deactivated. For weapons and companions, I recommend you go into Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, since higher base levels allow you to level up faster. I recommend you either bring a CC frame like Vauban with his Vortex, or a buffing frame like Rhino, Wisp, or a damage dealer like Mirage. But my personal go-to for weapon leveling will always be Vauban with a higher range, high duration build, cause Vortex go brr. If you aren't mastering 30 yet, you will have to use Sanctuary Onslaught for leveling Warframes, since Elite Sanctuary Onslaught doesn't allow Warframes under the level of 30. Once you reach MR 30 though, you are allowed to enter Elite Sanctuary Onslaught with an underleveled Warframe as long as they have been formatted once. That's pretty neat. You aren't forced to do this, but it's always an option to bring a nuking frame. So once you reach max level, you could nuke for your teammates, but this is optional, but definitely worth mentioning. Let's move on to the more advanced methods. Carpet bombing, anyone? Nah, jokes aside. The method I'm gonna talk about is the Silence and Arrow method, or as I like to call it, Silence Carpet Bombing. I mean, it's an appropriate name once you see it. So, what are the requirements for this? First off, you need to have the Helminth system from Deimos. You need to subsume Banshee into the Helminth system, and you need to have a good AoE weapon. The usual go-to for this is Kuwabrahma. First off, start by subsuming Silence onto your first Warframe ability slot. Luckily, this is extremely cheap and doesn't require Bile. It's important to note you always need to equip the Augment Savage Silence, since this opens enemies up to finishers, which therefore resets their stealth. I don't know the exact science behind this, but you need to play it. Your setup should always look something like this. Tweak the range to your liking, though the sweet spot for Silence is around 20 meters. Keep in mind, this levels as you level up. For this method, you also need to play some sort of knockdown resistance. You can get this through Unairu, Sure-Footed, or Cautious Shot. If you don't do this, this will take you like at least a minute or two longer. This can take you around about 2 to 4 minutes, depending on your speed, mod setup, etc. It's pretty good, though, believe me, the next method is 10 times better. But I'll give you a quick rundown anyways. You go to Sedna, you load into the mission Adaro, you cast Silence, and then just run around killing everything with your Kuwabrahma that has Silent status. This is necessary because Kuwabrahma's bomblets sometimes have alarming sound, I don't know why, it's hella weird. But just run around, kill everything, and then go to the end. That's all there is to it. Let's get to the most goated, the best method, which single-handedly is just my go-to for everything that isn't a weapon. It requires 2 to 4 minutes max. Doesn't require any subsumes, anything. All it requires a single weapon, and that is Netherrock. I'm talking about the Cetus method. You can do this on any PC, console, whatever. It just requires a little aim. So, what can you level with this exactly? You can level Warframes, Companions, Companion Weapons, and Archwings. Weapons sadly do not work. It doesn't sound like a lot, but believe me, have you ever tried leveling a Warframe in Sanctuary Onslaught only to get the 10th tile of Infested back to back, which just takes you 30 minutes and you won't get anywhere with your levels? Yeah, this doesn't exist with this method. Even if you fuck this up, you get 5 minutes max and your frame is maxed. Like I said, you only need Netherrock. If you don't have this yet, go play the story quests, then come back to this method. And you need to bind the Archwing launcher to a button on your controller or your keyboard. Here is the Netherrock config, change this however you want. It's just base start chart, it's not that deep. All you will do is equip your leveling stuff, load into the planes, fly up high, usually 1 dash is enough. Quickly max out your stealth affinity in the camp to the left. Then just pick off Eximus units across the map. It's important, always wait 3 seconds after loading them in, because if you shoot too early, the stealth multiplier might break. There's a catch though, if you're leveling a Warframe specifically, you need to shoot, jump out of your Warframe by pressing melee. Since we don't have a melee equipped, this will just yeet us, and then as the arrow hits, it will count for your Warframe as well. If you stay in the arching mode, it will not go to your Warframe. That's all there is to it. Just make sure you're not in your archwing when the arrow lands. But if you're leveling anything else, just stay in your archwing and you will be fine. I will show an example of that in the background. You will see. The route is not complicated at all. Here I made a little map. I suck at picture editing, you'll solely have to excuse that. But screenshot if necessary. Ever wanted to level something semi-AFK? Then this method is for you. I'm talking about Steel Path Jupiter Elara survival. This method has a single requirement. A single one. A on-call crewmate, which you get from level 9 Railjack intrinsics. Your crewmate should be high level in combat, or an elite crewmate with crit chance to primary weapons. Equip a Zar on it. This is the config. Zar is gonna kill them regardless. The weapon is broken as hell. It hits damage cap on level cap. All you're gonna do is you go to your map, you switch your servers to Asia, then load into this mission. On the first tile set, go to the very edge. You're gonna wait for the first and second players. You see the funny numbers on the top right? These dictate in which order you're gonna place your teammates. So 1 and 2 are gonna place their crewmates, and then the players 3 and 4. You just do this, and after 6 minutes-ish, you all should be maxed, pretty much. Just pay attention to your teammates, when they leave, when they place the crewmates, etc. and you should be fine. You could do this method without a crewmate, but it is nice to be a good teammate and help others level as well. Place a crewmate, do nothing, profit. You can level anything in there, even equipables. I personally didn't do it since I don't like the AFK methods, but it is an option. For the next two methods, there's not much to say. It's gonna be Railjack and Necromex. Railjacks are really simple. Just play high-level skirmish missions, complete as fast as you can, and you should be done. That's all there is to it. As for Necromex, I hope you bought snacks, because this takes quite some time. The best method is just going to Railjack high-level survival. It isn't great. It takes roughly 30 minutes for one forma, so might as well just do it passively rather than farming this nightmare. Let's head from one nightmare to the other. Arch wings, arch guns, and arch melees. For arch guns, it's relatively simple. Just do Profit Taker until you unlock the arch gun deployer, then head into Hydron Setna or Jupiter Elara and level these there. But if you're into torture, you could also go into a mission called Salacia. It's on Neptune, it's an Archwing mobile defense. This mobile defense is coincidentally the place to level arch melees, the only really active one. You could level archwings and archguns in there, but I wouldn't recommend that. It's just depressing. Besides this mission, you could just go into Railjack and level them there, but it's not great. Archwings luckily have the CTS method, but besides that, there's not much. DE really need to add more leveling variety for archwings and Railjacks. We need more content. Last on the bucket list is Hydron. This is an artifact of a time long gone by, back when you had to wait 5 minutes for Zenuric's energy regen, where it was a one-time cast, but you had it for the entire mission. Those were some good times. But I hate to break it to you, if you still use this mission to mainly level your stuff, you are wasting your time. Like I said, the only reason to play this maybe in 2025 is to level Archgun somewhat fast, but like I said, that can be done in other missions. So what is it even used for at this point? Well, either you watch the entire video, or you just skip to this part. Before I give you a recap, first off, go sub to me please. We're close to 500 subs. I'm gonna do a giveaway once I reach 500 subs. Thank you for that. Anyway, here's an overview of what to level, where, and some rough time estimates. That was a lot of leveling talk, but if you appreciate this type of guide, even in the slightest, I have 3 more of these. 1 for credits, 1 for platinum, and 1 how to level cap. The links for that will be in the description. If you want to add something that's said, or want to share a method I didn't cover in this video, leave a comment. Anyway, enough yapping from me. Peace.